Welcome to the Nerd Social. This is part two of Cobra Kai Season 3 review. I'm John, and we will rejoin with Nathan and Colin and resume part two of the review.
All these senseis are a little are all these senseis are middle-aged white guys. That's one thing, and they're not none of them are really all that great as senseis.
No,
And
so
then the city council also
yeah,
approved of them having the tournament. And it's
yeah,
like these three guys, it's like, oh yeah, it's like builds confidence and like, oh, all right. And then but the kids were the ones that actually convinced the council. But
correct.
then but they had those three guys had the overbearing presence of
Hmm.
we have to save the tournament. And it's like obviously they've had a lot of scuffles and incidents because of it.
Yep.
And so, wow, the kids actually said so, and then it's now back on. It's kind of strange to me.
Yeah, that was a very Disney Channel
Yeah.
moment to me, right? Where the kids come into the rescue. But
So yeah,
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 but Nathan, as you mentioned, all the extreme tactics that these senseis are doing, yes, it's child abuse, and at the same
It's
time,
child abuse, child endangerment.
child
Yeah,
endangerment. What doesn't again that to me that goes back to the writing of how they're trying, how they're doing this. They're trying to send a message. All the bullying that they're depicting,
hmm
the no violence mantra, and all that stuff, or the different types of approaches to life, to situations, and all that. And they show like the absolute worst advice, worst whatever, worst guidance. And then later on, they show, guess what? It works. It somehow
yeah.
works,
Right.
right? It was actually right all along. So very mixed messaging, and it's borderline irresponsible. I gotta say. I mean, we can
No,
laugh about it because
I mean,
we know what's right and wrong, right? But
right.
Right.
It's fun to watch, but you definitely shouldn't take like a lot of moral lessons from the show because it has a lot of bad messaging if you take it to the logical conclusion. Because yeah, this is not a manual for how to live one's life,
no,
Yeah.
but
it's oh my gosh. If I had tried that stuff from back when I was teaching, oh my goodness, I wouldn't be sitting here today. But and then Amanda, I guess she had a run-in finally with Crease. She
Mhm.
got to see
Hmm.
firsthand that oh my gosh, this guy is nuts, right? He's out of his head, and then she slaps him and everything. But and then they decide to take it when Daniel returns. They go to the police. Finally, somebody goes to
Mhm.
the police the one time, and turns out Crease was already one step ahead. He had a
Yeah.
restraining order against her for that slap.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
showing how the system works for that guy, but not for anybody else, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
So, and then Kreese, being Kreese, he's now recruiting all the alpha males into school
Mhm.
and trying to kick out the
Hmm.
weaklings of the Cobra Kai team. So he gets the uber alpha male Kyler from season one. That
Mhm.
was
Right.
Samantha's first boyfriend, and Hawk. Hawk is not liking it, right? So
No,
that
Right.
yeah. So that's
he
like
Because he was
tormented him,
bullied
right?
by he was bullied by
He
Kyler.
tormented
yeah,
Hawk, right?
bullied by
Yeah. He
Kyler.
was.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, and and then Johnny, knowing that he doesn't have Cobra Kai anymore, he's going to create his new dojo, and
Mm.
he finally creates it with the very menacing name of Eagle Fang, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? Again, more played for laughs at his expense, and the stuff he does, and the
Right.
fact that is he really that
Yeah,
absent-minded, right? So
yeah. His entire body of knowledge is '80s movies, and the posters associated with them, rock, '80s rock, and
yep,
maybe monster trucks because they do mention that he likes monster trucks as
yep,
well.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's his whole knowledge base. So he pulls anything that all his decisions comes from those
yeah.
those eras.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He might be a time traveler. You're right, Nathan. He might be a time traveler. He might be out of time.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah,
of like a weird version of Captain America in some ways.
yeah,
Probably. I don't
Yeah,
know.
frozen and thawed from the '80s. Yeah,
yeah,
Exactly.
he really does sound like a man out of time,
yeah.
right?
Right.
And then Samantha finds her mojo in the dojo um, with the bow staff. So again, more setup for when that bow staff will probably come in handy later, right? As she finds her confidence again with that bow staff. So, Miguel and Samantha are getting closer again. So they were on a high from convincing that All Valley Karate Championship board, or getting that permit for that championship again, and that's when they spoke up and talked to him. So, but again, like Riverdale / soap opera drama, Robbie comes in at a place that hasn't been there in a while, and just all conveniently catches them, right? Conveniently catches them, getting close again, and then that sets him off yet in another direction, right? And this time running into the arms of Kreese.
Are we gonna? What do you guys think about Robbie's storyline this season? Are we gonna talk about that?
It is really out there. It's almost like they are running out of things on what to do with him. They know they want to keep him in conflict with his father. They definitely,
and also apparently Miguel as well. They want to keep him in conflict with Miguel.
It sounds like they want to keep him in conflict with everybody, right?
Everybody. Oh yeah, he's in conflict with Daniel as well this season because he turned him in. But I mean, I know he's a child and he doesn't necessarily understand this. But yes, he broke someone's back and nearly killed them. Yeah. If he didn't turn himself in, he got a light sentence. Based upon what actually happened.
True.
If he didn't turn himself in, it doesn't make sense to me, unless he has no understanding of how bad it would have gotten for him if they had caught him on the run.
Yeah.
Why he's consistently mad with Daniel, like mad in the moment because Daniel lured him to the place and he didn't know that he was going to be picked up. Sure, but like. After actually getting arrested and being in juvie, continue to be mad with Daniel, made no sense to me, unless he's completely ignorant of the criminal justice system, which doesn't make any sense because where we found him in season 1 is him doing all the crimes with his friends.
Yeah.
So
his arc is it wildly diverged from where I thought it was going from season 1, and then. And in the season 2, how it ended up that way, especially being mad at the LaRussos again. Yeah, it was just it just felt like it took many, many steps back, unfortunately, where it looked like he really could have been a bridge between Daniel and Johnny, and it looked like it was headed there, but then they threw that all out the window. So I guess this is the direction they want to go.
Yeah.
So, and then. The big setup since the end of season 2 was the return of yet another very nostalgic character, and that's Elizabeth Shue's character, Allie. And she comes back for this episode. What is it, 1 or 2 episodes? And gets with Johnny, and they reminisce about old times. He gets to finally apologize. Elizabeth Shue, we last saw her in The Boys. At least that's where I saw her. And she was great in that. In this one, she kind of looked like she was having fun. I could tell she was definitely having fun. She's constantly laughing and stuff. So,
did you? I mean, what did you? This is another thing we talked about before recording. Actually, a couple of days ago. Do you think that she's working as hard to actually act?
No, that's what I mean. I think she's just there on scene. Yeah. She's on the set like, hey guys, I haven't seen you in a long time. This is fun, and I kind of feel that through through her performance, but at the same time, no. I think they also gave her some pretty much some, I don't want to say throwaway lines, but very easy lines to just go in and make nice with everybody. Right? She's not there to create conflict in any way, and just trying to say nice stuff to everybody and positive things and give them a life lesson, right? To both Daniel and Johnny, and especially at the country club, that old country club where was it Karate Kid 1, where Daniel wasn't even supposed to be there, and her parents are members of that country club as well,
right? And
now he's a member of that country club.
Yeah, he's Daniel's ascendancy. He needs to be part of that country club to keep his business connections. Yeah,
Right.
actually, you know, I forgot that she was in The Boys. I actually I look at her performance in this show um even less favorably because now that I remember now she was in The Boys, and she can act.
Oh,
She just
she's
wasn't she wasn't acting in this show.
yeah, yeah.
She
She was
phoned it in,
nominated for an Academy Award too, I think.
which is
She
probably why she didn't
was.
show up. Which is probably why she didn't show up in season one. But now everyone is talking about the show, so she showed up, but she didn't put in the work.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
yeah.
glad that they brought her in because she was in a big part of the first movie. But given the performance she did, or she put in, she doesn't have to show up again for me. I
Yep.
mean, I don't know how you guys feel.
It's a glorified cameo,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So,
I just kind of felt that she was more of. I think it reminded me of Back to the Future Part Two in a lot of ways. Is like because she's so 80s and like she played the girlfriend in a lot of different films during the 80s. So it was like very kind of weird in
Mm-hmm.
that now it's 30 years later.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
She's like the mid 40s, early 50s Elizabeth Shue, and she played that in Back to the Future Part Two as well
Mm.
in one scene where they saw each other, and I was like, wow, that actually now she's actually aged up to that point, and
Mm-hmm.
it gave me kind of these interesting vibes looking back at that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So despite
Definitely.
Daniel and Johnny playing nice, meanwhile back at the LaRusso's home, the big battle royale's happening. So big fight
Yeah.
part two,
Mm-hmm.
where Miguel and Samantha were actually putting together a plan to join forces with
Right.
Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang. So they're
Mm-hmm.
talking about it.
Right.
There were some tensions at first, and then all of a sudden, who shows up? Cobra Kai shows up to
Right.
fight Tori and the gang, right, and Hawk
Mm-hmm.
and all those
Yeah.
guys. I do have to say, I don't know if they used trickery, but I did notice some single camera shots with the fight scenes, which was pretty cool. I like
Mm-hmm.
that. So, kudos to them for the some of the choreography, and considering some of them are kids, some of them are very young, and
Right.
they're able to do that. And and again, that's where we saw Hawk
Mm-hmm.
uh, change allegiances, and that's how they were able to get away scot free,
Mm-hmm.
or end the fight in that way. And of course, Samantha using that bow staff to end the fight that she had with
Mm-hmm.
Tori. Now I don't know
Hmm.
why they just let her go. Maybe to prove that they're better or whatever. But I probably would have smacked her on the head with that bow staff. But that was the end of that. And because of that, Johnny and found out and made his way. Found out that Miguel, in that fight, he got his ass kicked. Right, he looked really bad, and
Mm-hmm.
so he went right over to Kreese for their final
Mhm.
showdown. Kreese
Mm-hmm.
at the Cobra Kai, and who does he find there is Robbie training with Kreese, and
Yeah.
so their big fight happens there. So what did you guys think about Johnny's fight with Kreese?
Uh, I thought it was pretty good. I'm just taking the fight and out of the entire season because I mean I have I have mixed feelings about the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was an earned fight, and I think it was a well choreographed fight. You understood the underlying emotions under that behind that fight. I mean, he's there with his son. He's there with Johnny's son. He sent a bunch of his former students to beat up Miguel.
Yeah.
And Miguel is worse for wear. So you understand Johnny's feeling in that fight. And I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty well choreographed as well.
Yeah, I think that definitely there's a lot of this pent up emotion between the two, and it's been building up over the course of 3 seasons, and it was just when Johnny going to lose, actually Daniel actually showed up to actually save his bacon, so it was very interesting to kind of see them kind of teaming up in a way to against Kreese.
Hmm.
Kreese, I also thought that the fight was choreographed well, and that's my problem with it. Yeah, I'm picking it apart a little bit because I don't know if you guys noticed, but Kreese, being how old is he? I think he's in his 70s. The actor himself.
70s or 60s.
70s or 60s. Yeah. So in many scenes, I don't know if you guys noticed, he had a really strange walk to him, and it reminded me of back to The Irishman. When they made The Irishman, they de-aged Robert De Niro. That you can de-age him all you want. The actor himself is an older, elderly man.
Yeah,
and
his
he walks
gait.
like it. Yeah, his gait is just like that. And Kreese has that gait to me throughout the whole season. And in that final fight, he turns into like Yoda, just flying off the walls and just beating the crap out of Johnny.
So it's obvious that they had a body double.
It was very obvious they had a stunt double who did not act like he was an older man fighting a younger man, right? Even if they showed him kicking his butt, it just kind of took me out of that too. So, but yeah, Daniel shows up and he gets to use that kill technique or that technique that he learned from Chosen to stop Kreese. And then that, but sides are chosen. So Robbie still sides with Kreese, and Daniel and Johnny looked like they were standing together, right? And then yet another final scene we see at the Miyagi-Do, at the dojo, that Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do students are standing together, and then Johnny shows up, and they bow to each other, showing and signifying to everybody that. Looks like they have a truce, right? They are locked on arm in arm. So I like that ending. That was a very nice ending shot of finally bringing it together. It was a long time coming. If they were actually adults about it, they probably could have gotten to that point sooner. But
it's episode 2 of season 1. Yeah, they were actually adults about it.
But I get it. They got to throw in some drama here and there, some far-fetched plots here and there, and manufactured drama, but overall, it was to me it was still on par with season 1 and season 2. What about you guys?
Now that you say that, I think the reconciliation at the end. I mean, I know I didn't have much good to say about Elizabeth Shue showing up, but I do think that she served a good purpose of bringing them together at the end. So I'm glad that she showed up for that reason, to kind of bring them back to where they were as kids and show them that they, a lot of time has passed. They both were idiots to her at different points in their lives, so they have more in common than they think that they do. Yep. So she was useful in that regard, because I mean, if they were mature adults, they would have been able to arrive at that conclusion by themselves, but. We've seen over the last 2 seasons that they're not. So she was useful to get them there. Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't know if I enjoyed the season as much as I did season 2. They pulled out one of the characters that I liked the most, Aisha, and they kind of just explained it with a throwaway line. Her parents moved her away to a private school. Yeah. And I think there were definitely some highs in this season, but nothing that was as high as the fight at the end of the second season. And I didn't it's not like I didn't enjoy the season. I enjoyed season 2 better. I think of the 3 seasons, season 2 is probably my best season. Most of season 2, although they started to diminish Aisha's role in season 2 as well. So
I think for me, I enjoyed season 3 quite a bit. I think that the trip to Okinawa in Japan was really, really great. I think that I really enjoyed the fact that Chosen's redemption arc has really been completed. That really was good in many, many ways. And I also think that the relationship between Johnny and Miguel's mother, Carmen, was also a little bit was very interesting in some ways, because Johnny had this has this thing for Allie for a long time, but then there's a chance for a new relationship with someone new, and it happens to be his student's mother, which is kind of interesting, and also how Johnny really was very chivalrous in some ways, because he kind of beat up that jerk of a boyfriend that she had. So and that, I think that there's definitely some moments that are there that are great. the teenage drama is kind of weird because it always kind of throws me off because they only mentioned about high school, which was I'm going to fail my trig homework. I think it was Kyler who said that.
And
Considering
the science project as well that Hawk
considering
destroyed.
the fact that they're high school students, I'm just thinking, this is what they spend their time doing the whole time, like going out there and picking fights with people. So it kind of threw me off in that. So in a way, it was definitely enjoyable, definitely very entertaining. But you definitely have to leave some logic behind and some things behind in order to enjoy it fully.
Yeah, they just remember these kids just show up to these dojos with a tuition check in hand, right? Without their parents signing any waivers, signing any contracts or agreements or whatever, right? And remember, these senseis can just open up dojos on a handshake deal, right? And be able to lose it that way. But as much as I complain about all that, I have to admit I still do enjoy that nostalgia, right? The callbacks to the previous movies, because these are all movies we enjoyed, right? We all enjoyed,
right.
Well, at least number one, a little bit of number two, and I barely remember number three.
Right.
And
so if
they might do number three next season. You never know.
That's the trend there. They're going to pull things from three, but I don't remember what happened in three.
So that little setup there was one where Kreese makes the phone call to call in a favor from an old, I guess, a military buddy. Mm-hmm. I think it might be Terry Silver, the guy with the ponytail from Part 3.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know about you guys. I remember him being much younger than Kreese, so it didn't seem to exactly fit the age bracket of being a military buddy. Maybe he's the son of a military buddy. I don't know.
So I think that what they were doing with the background story was saying, and they were trying to do a little misdirect, right? Because the person that they called Ponytail was killed in Vietnam. So I guess they're saying that Terry grew a ponytail to kind of honor him. I think is probably what they're going to do in next season. But yeah, there's definitely an age gap. There's maybe 20 years.
That's what I'm thinking.
At least 15 years. I guess they could have been in Vietnam at the same time, but they wouldn't have been the same age. And they've had all those actors be about the same age. Mm-hmm. And the actor after they got out of the pit, he was very adamant about if you need anything. So I think you're right. It's going to be Terry. But in the movies, it wouldn't make sense chronologically. They did mention in the first season or the second season that they were the two people whose name were on the lease or that created the thing. So I think
when
he
they got
always
banned.
going to show up.
Right. Yeah, when they got banned and Johnny was trying to get Cobra Kai unbanned from that tournament.
Right.
And they said, "Are you familiar with?" And they rattled off names, including Terry Silver. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Colin
at what point do they?
Thing. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Colin reminded me of one thing. I mean, I think the other thing that I didn't like about this season, even though, like I said, overall it was okay for me, was Carmen. Like they underutilized her. I mean, I understand because they brought in Elizabeth Shue, but they underwrote that character, and I was really looking forward to where Johnny's relationship was going to go with her. I mean, they slept together, mm-hmm. which is great, but they didn't give her much to do this season besides worry about her son, which of course she's going to worry about her son. But there was no more development with her character this season beyond that.
Yeah, she transitioned. Well, she went back and forth from worried mom to hot mom, and and that was it. There wasn't more to her, and it would have been nice to show what happened afterwards, because Johnny did eventually choose to see where their relationship was going to go. But,
mm-hmm.
Right.
No, that was it. I guess we'll see that next season.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then next season or whenever, are they ever going to mention Hilary Swank? That was the what was that called? The Next Karate Kid.
The Next Karate
Kid.
Kid. So
I actually saw some clips of it on YouTube, and because I remember that movie in the 90s, and actually it was shot in Boston, and it was really interesting because I remember that movie, but I'd never watched it in theaters or anything like that. But it's very, like I said, it's very 90s oriented. The whole But of course, the storyline is very similar in some ways. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure as to whether or not they might ask Hilary Swank to come back to Cobra Kai. That would be very interesting to kind of see the dynamic.
All I remember about that movie is that Hilary Swank was in it. I don't remember was she being bullied like Daniel was at the beginning of the movie?
Kind of in some ways, but it was more like harassed more rather than bullied by like an alpha male character and a drill sergeant type, that type of thing. It was again kind of like trying to play on that kind of alpha male bully type of thing going, and they had a story about them going to see monks, which kind of strange because I don't know of any type of having been from the Boston area. There's no like temples around this area, so I didn't know where they went to.
So was it shot? Was it shot in the Boston area? Or sorry, what is it set in the Boston area or shot in the Boston area?
It was set in Boston, and there were definitely some Boston scenes and based in Boston as well, because I know that the high school is in a town that's like right outside of Boston. So
what was the story there? Miyagi decided to move to the East Coast and leave
Boston.
Interesting because it was like a war buddy that he had, and then the war buddy and so his war buddy had passed away, and then the wife invited him to go to Boston, and then it's just so happened that they have a granddaughter. Granddaughter is played by Hilary Swank, and so he ended up staying there for a few months while the grandmother inexplicably went to California to be in Miyagi's garden. Like maybe chill there. I mean, it didn't make any sense as to why the grandmother left. It was just like it was almost like I can't handle this kid, and yeah, you can handle him. You can handle her for a little bit and see where it goes. I'm like,
interesting. You remember this
and kind of a roundabout way
more
of
about
how
that movie than I do.
I barely remember it.
No, I just saw the clips. That's why I saw the clips like about a few weeks ago, and then like that's pretty much what it was. And then so happened that she knows karate. That type of thing.
Now I wonder if they're also going to find some way to integrate into the storyline the updated remake or reboot of Karate Kid with what is his name?
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, right?
They said it wasn't karate; it was kung fu,
It was
right?
kung fu. They should have called it the Kung Fu Kid.
That was so kung fu. It's not even funny.
But I did find it hilarious when Jackie Chan says, "Jacket on, jacket off," and I don't think he realized what he's saying when he says that, right? With the whole jacket stuff.
Right.
So for a grown man to say "jacket off" to a young kid, it just never sounds right. The reason I mentioned that movie is because Will Smith is a producer on the Karate Kid series. So
Will Smith is heavily invested in the Karate Kid universe. Like maybe he really liked it when he was a kid, because I mean he blew up at the end of the '90s, right? So maybe he did watch it when he was a kid in the '80s, and he's heavily invested in it, and he just wants to see that universe expand. I don't know. We'll see if they pull in anything. I mean, because the Karate Kid, the remake, had nothing to do with the original.
It doesn't.
So you'd have to come up with some convoluted, contrived way why Daniel knows. I don't know. I forget who Jackie Chan's the name of Jackie Chan's character is. Why he would know. Yeah. and I think that doing that would be a bad idea for a lot of reasons, because I think Americans just assume, certain Americans assume Asian countries are basically the same. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's a big difference between Japanese culture
all know each
and
other.
Chinese culture. Yeah.
Yeah, we all know each other. We all go by the same name.
Yeah. So I think it's probably best that they just leave that out. But but really I don't really remember anything from Karate Kid Part 3 to be nostalgic about. Besides, I guess Terry is going to show up.
That brings us to the end of our review of Cobra Kai Season 3. Thank you for joining us. If you agree with our comments, or perhaps you disagree with any of our comments that we've made, please comment down below, and don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to our channel so you can be up to date on future videos that we have. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.